Right, hello and welcome to the Tsukuba circuit 1 hour. Yes, this is a human comedy event, one of the hardest events in Gran Turismo 7. So, today we are going to be looking at it and seeing how you can complete it. So what this event requires is you heading around Tsukuba for an hour in the Mazda Roadster touring car. Now, you can purchase this vehicle from Brand Central if you do not have it. Now, there are some requirements for this vehicle. Firstly, it needs to be under 600 performance points, but you also have to run tires of the racing category. So that's your racing hards, mediums, softs, intermediates, as well as wets. So you do need to consider that when you are upgrading your Mazda touring car. But for me, I really say the only upgrades you need are obviously your tires and, well, your racing brake kits. Whether you want to do slotted or drill, that's completely up to you, and racing brake pads. So once you have those two items purchased, well, apply them to your vehicle, and when you are going to tune them, make sure they are applied. And then for your actual suspension settings, I set my body height adjustment to 88 in both the front and the rear. For natural frequency, 2.67 in the rear and 2.60 in the front. And once that was done, well, it was just time to head out onto circuit. Now, once the event actually loaded up, well, the first thing I did was set my fuel map over to fuel map level 3. With the vehicle being on fuel map level 3, it's the best of both worlds, because yes, you do still have a decent amount of power, but you are also fuel saving. Also, when it comes to assist in this event, I went for 2 on the traction control. This way it isn't fully restricting, but you can still feel that traction is there. This is just a personal preference. You can treat it however you want it. If you want traction control, whether or not, it's completely up to you. I highly recommend you actually use a manual transmission, as this is an endurance event. It's just going to help out a lot when it comes to fuel savings. So when it comes to overtaking the opponents in this event, well, it may take a bit of time. We see the first overtake actually made in this event was actually almost on the straightaway coming back to the start finish line. So yes, it does take quite a bit of time. Now, there are 2 types of AI in this event. You have the guys that are ridiculously quick and the ones that are just there to slow you down. So you really have to just watch out for these AI and just try and avoid them. But also something you do need to remember, they are not afraid to bump you if you are in their way. So you could get punted off circuit by the AI. So just make sure you are following the driving line and driving quite quickly. Otherwise, a fast AI will not be afraid to just give you a nudge on the back. So when it comes to lap times and what you should be aiming for, anything around the 1 minute flat is good. Should get the job done. You want to aim for lap times around the 59-second mark. If you aren't able to do it, it's absolutely fine. But if you are setting lap times around the 1 minute 4-second mark, it's gonna be a bit of a struggle, and you are gonna just have to really work hard and hope that you have your fuel strategy perfectly set out. For me, I only did 3 pit stops. The first fuel stop being at the end of lap 17, the second one being at the end of lap 27, and the third one being at the end of lap 35. Now, something that you are also going to notice during this event is the changing weather. Now, when it comes to changing weather, it is gradual. Over time, you will see the clouds just become darker, and you are going to need to just watch out and make sure you are monitoring how much water is on circuit, because before you know it, it starts raining and you are still using your racing tires. So when it comes to tires, for me, my go-to is racing mediums and the racing intermediates. For me, these are the perfect tires that I want to use, and I suggest you using also. So for me, with the vehicle being on fuel map level 3, by the end of lap 17, I needed to make my first pit stop, and we see that we are all the way up in 2nd position when we go into the pits. When we come out of the pits, we aren't going to be there, because you know how long it takes to refuel in Gran Turismo 7. So after setting a brand new set of racing mediums on and filling the car up to 100% because look, it's an endurance event and we still have what, 40 something plus minutes remaining. Yeah, we're gonna need a brand new set of racing medium. So we head back on out onto circuit and we see we're in 7th position with first place now being ahead of us by 33 seconds. Now it actually took me up until lap 25 to actually regain 2nd position, and this is also when I noticed that it has begun to rain. So you need to take it a bit more cautiously and you can't be as aggressive when it comes cornering, because you will end up off circuit and not having the best of times. So it is something you do need to watch out for. So to avoid doing what I did and run off circuit, well, you are just gonna have to just play it more carefully. And with that being said, when I saw that the rain on circuit had reached the middle zone, I knew, okay, after this lap I need to dive straight into the pits. And what you'll actually notice is that AI will do the same. I dove into a pit right behind 2nd place and we can actually see it was almost a race to see whose car could refuel faster. And when it came to us coming out, I actually managed to just beat 2nd place out. As you can see, he was still ghosted and I managed to get 2nd place, with 1st place now being a gap of 21 seconds ahead of us. So slowly but surely we are still closing the gap and we finally made it into 1st position by the time we hit lap 32, because we see now that the driver decided to dive back into pits, refuel and change on over to dry tires. Now I do not recommend changing on over to dry tires, especially if you are looking at your weather map and you see that rain is still coming. What you rather do is just see how long you can last on your racing intermediate tires before you need to go back into pits. As you can see, I'm now in 2nd place once more, changing on over to another set of racing intermediates because I saw that rain is coming. So I rather get it in early, refuel, change on over to my racing intermediates and just hunt down and try and close the gap. So by the time that 1st position goes into refuel and change their tires, I can then actually make the overtake and just stay out longer. The weather radar is honestly your friend with this event, and it gives you the guidance to know whether or not you need to go into the pits, because at times there have been moments where the rain becomes more than your racing intermediate tires can handle, and those moments are going to be a bit sketchy. But trust me, I don't really see racing wet actually being so game changing that it's actually going to save you the time that you pit. So really the heavens open, just take it slow, stay with the race intermediates, because as we get closer to the event the rain dissipates and the track actually begins to dry out and you need to stay on your racing intermediates. Now what the opponents do is when they see, okay, it's not as wet, then they change from their racing wet, they head on over into the intermediates. Then they see, okay, it's drying up a bit more, they go into pits again and they change from the intermediates to dry tires. With those 2 pit stops that you do not take, it is absolutely gonna save you enormous amounts of time. Now for me, when I reached lap 38, I changed on over from fuel map level 3 to fuel map level 6. This way, yes, I didn't have as much power, but I didn't need so much power, because with the enormous amounts of rainfall that occurred during this time, you don't really need a ton of power because you can't put the power down to the ground. So I was saving a lot more fuel and actually just setting decent lap times. The vehicle wasn't over rotating its wheels, it wasn't spinning up much, and it just made it a lot easier to drive and control. It just made the overall experience a lot better. And with me not diving into refuel the way the opponents were, it means that we ended up with a lead of over 30 seconds between us and 2nd place, which just made it easy sailing when it came to just the end of the event, because we see that we actually ended off the event with a lead of over 34 seconds. overtake 4 seconds between us and second place, really completing the event and make it almost look easy. And that's the crazy thing, because the event was done on the hardest difficulty. Now something you do need to remember, when it comes to the difficulty setting, you do need to keep it on hard, because for some reason the human comedy races are kind of bugged. So the easier version is on the hardest difficulty. I don't know how that works, but apparently that's the case. And to just show you that I am still doing this on the hardest difficulty, I'm just gonna head on over to settings now and show you right there. So with that being said, your main focus needs to be on your fuel strategy, and once we nail that, aim to set fast lap times, and if you're consistent with it, you will get this event done. So, and with those being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.